Hi guys, if at all you're writing CA final audit exam in the coming May exams or even November 23, please watch this video without skipping. So here I'm talking about question bank for CA final audit. Like very simple, you just open rest of a CA and cacma.com, rest of a CA, cma.com, that's it. So there you are routed to our website. Inside that there is an option called resources at the top. So inside that select CA final. So in CA final, we are dealing right now with advanced auditing. Inside that, there is an option called notes. Click on that. Now you will be opened with various resources that we are providing at free of cost to all the CA final students. Now peer review amendment material, ICI amendments material, all that is there. Smart notes colored one. Even we have given the corresponding amendments video link, marathon links, all that. Now here, the primary agenda of this video is regarding this question bank. Yes, so in this question bank, which is an exclusive question bank on standards and audit report. Like let me open this and then show you. Just click on this option download. So the question bank gets opened and let me open it in the application. Okay, now you see here. So this is the question bank which we have finalized it on 31st March and released. Now, what is the primary objective of this question bank? In this, we have only covered 3 chapters. One is company audit, audit report, and standards on auditing. Now, first, understand what is there in your syllabus. What are the resources that you should look for as per ICA requirement. First, understand what is ICA requirement according to these 3 chapters, especially standards. Okay, please listen without failure. You are going to understand exactly what to be referred. Now, many students are having, a lack of confidence on standards, especially. Many are unable to understand what exactly standards, what they deal with, what are the practice questions on that standards, all that. So now here I provide you a simple solution for that. Now, this is a question bank video exclusively focusing on 3 chapters: company audit, audit report, and standards. These 3 put together will have a weightage of 30 plus marks. Yes, you heard it right. 30 plus marks will be the minimum weightage of these topics. Just company audit, audit report, and standards. Minimum, I'm talking about minimum weightage. Now, first of all, sir, what do you mean by standards? You should understand what do you mean by standards exactly. Many of you don't understand what is the scope of the standard, what book to refer. First of all, as per ICI, what books to refer for standards, nobody have an idea. So now, I have downloaded even ICA book also. So this is the screenshot, or I can say this is the last page in the ICA material. You have a chapter in CA final auditing book. You have a chapter called second chapter audit planning strategy in that 47th page. By the way, what is the first chapter in your CA final audit book? It is actually standards. And how many pages it has? Some 30 or 40 or maybe max 50 pages. That's it. In CA final audit, standards chapter is only 50 pages, but don't conclude it. The main clarification, generally to all my regular students, I show this in the class. Even for my revision students, I show this. But many of you, whoever have not attended either my revision or regular, you need to get a clarity. Now, first of all, you see, standards means like, sir, what are the important standards to be covered? Students will ask me. First of all, you don't know what is standards. Now, once again, I'll get back to this. If you observe a chapter called audit report, if you observe the chapter called audit report, in audit report, it actually has 2 parts, part 1 and part 2 in my material. Part 1 is actually dealing with standards only. But which standards? Audit report related standards. Part 2, I will discuss company audit provisions in audit report. In audit report, I discuss few company audit. Now, what do you mean by that? Caro, all that. Those of you who watched my marathon, my audit class, very much understands. I discuss Caro not as part of company audit. I discuss it as part of audit report because Caro is part of audit report. It's part of the audit report that we give in reality. Getting it? Fine. So there are approximately 12 standards. There are approximately 12 standards which are there as part of audit report itself, which you need to learn. Then what about remaining standards? All other remaining standards. First of all, we are having totally how many standards? 35 standards on audit. We are having totally how many? 35 standards on audit. Out of these 35 standards, let me separate these 3 standards. What are they? 300, 315, 265. Why am I separating them? Because 300 is nothing but it is covered as part of separate chapter called audit strategy. 315 is covered as part of risk assessment and internal control. 265 is also covered therein. So these three standards in CA final book, we have two separate chapters. One is audit planning chapter, another one risk assessment. If you read those two chapters, you need not read these standards. That is first important observation. Then, excluding these three, how many else we are having? 32 standards we are having. Out of 35, let us remove 3. We are still having 32 standards. Out of these 32, 12 standards you need to discuss as part of audit report. If you do not discuss them immediately along with as part of audit report, you will not understand the standard correctly. So what are those 12 standards? Here we have given. If at all you followed a regular class, or if at all you followed a revision or face-to-face fast track, whatever, please watch this and plan your these next upcoming 15-20 days for May exams properly. If you just give a single reading to this question bank where I am covering audit report and standards, that will be enough. And I'm also going to talk about the strategy that you need to follow for the upcoming exam. What are the resources in the last minute that you need to look up, everything. Now, so then what about remaining standards? Remaining standards are approximately 20. There are still 20 remaining standards. Now these 20 remaining standards, what CA final ICAI material says. Now you see. Now you will see here. Now some students, they ask me, sir, should I read SA 230 and 500? And they show me two pages document. Some SA 230 2 pages, some SA 500, some 2 pages they'll show. And I'll be worried. Array, SA 230 and 500 are not two pages. What CA final material says is, the CA final material is saying, refer chapter number 3 of CA intermediate study material. For all these standards, not just 230 and 500, for all the standards. You see, for all these standards, CA final material is asking you to refer CA inter material. How many of you look at CA inter material? Because in CA inter, all these standards were discussed in depth. And even in CA final, the questions are prepared in such a way they are asked in in-depth manner. Many students, after they give the attempt and come back and say, sir, I studied standards, sir, but I didn't find correct source because I don't know where. They think that questions are being asked from pronouncement. Does it mean pronouncement applicable? You need to read entire pronouncement book? Yes, actually answer is yes. And what is covered in the pronouncement is what covered in the CA inter book. Not only that, SA 240 standard, they are asking you to refer CA inter fraud chapter. Audit sampling, they are asking you to refer CA inter material. Analytical, SA 520, they are asking you to refer CA inter material. But only for these standards, CA final book is exclusively saying refer pronouncement book. Not for any other standard, only for these standards. Only for them. You are not supposed to refer any other book. You are not supposed to refer entire pronouncement. Only for them you have to refer pronouncement. Now for rest of the standards, what you need to do? You need to refer CA inter book. Because in CA inter only, these standards were discussed in depth. They were not covered in CA final in depth. So what we do in our regular class, we take material from CA inter for these standards and discuss it in class. And for few topics, SA 230, 500, 240, 530, 520. Let me list out here once. 230, 500. There is another standard called 330, 240, 520, 530. These standards, these 6 standards, and there is another one 320 materiality. For these standards, I directly provide my students CA inter video. Directly I'll provide CA inter video because in all these standards, questions will be asked in depth, no doubt. If at all a question comes on in these standards, obviously it's an in-depth question. What do you mean by in-depth question? Since you have not read the entire standard thoroughly, it's an in-depth question, obviously. If you read the standard, it's not a depth question at all. So for all these standards, they refer CA inter material, where we will be doing this approximately for 30 hours. Approximately these standards altogether we discuss 30 hours. And that is what ICA material is expecting from you. They're asking you to cover entire CA inter chapter. And definitely, if at all they have to test a question on this, The paper setter will take CA Inter book only because that is the what that reference only given in final. So he'll take up that book and select any question or any topic of his choice. So if at all we have to sincerely cover what ICI expect, we need to spend that 30 hours exactly. But what I tell my students, ignore all this. Ignore all this. Don't worry about them because spending 30 hours only for 5 to 6 standards is worthless. If at all a question comes, maybe 5 to 7 marks or maximum 10 marks comes from these standards. Maximum. In the history, in the last attempt from 320, 5 marks question came. Nobody expected. Nobody expected 5 marks question. Essay 520, sorry, essay 320 benchmarking question. In the November 22 exams, a benchmark question came and many of them don't even understand what is it exactly. Only very few students who read that only could able to answer to some extent. They not only asked for theory, they also asked a practical question inside that 5 marks question. Even for these standards also, they are asking you to refer CA Inter material. So what we do in our class is, we take up that from CA Inter entire content and we discuss it in class. Getting it? Then now, sir, what is the agenda of this video? Somehow we got some idea on this. Now, what is the agenda of this video? Now, on standards and audit report, there are many questions which are given in the past 8 or 9 attempts. If you look at here, we are giving you a question bank now only for audit report and standards and company audit put together. According to me, these 3 are a single topic according to me, but for convenience sake, gave it as 2 topics. Now we have covered right from 2018 onwards till November 2022 exams. May 2023 RTP we have not covered in this question bank because I will give a separate RTP video very soon. Okay, after this video within 1 or 2 days you will find RTP video. So November 22, May 2018 onwards to November 2022, all RTP questions, all suggested answers we have covered. Only for these chapters, only for these 2. Now some students ask me, sir, how many past attempt questions, how many past examination RTPs that we need to refer? I suggest no need to refer for all chapters except these 2. Only for these 2 chapters you refer. Remaining chapters no need to refer at all. Why? Because in all other chapters the questions are not complicated. Whatever you read from the main material, the same will come. Getting it? So only for them, if you solve these exams related question banks and RTPs, which is more than enough. Now, sir, how can I find all them? I have compiled it for you. I have compiled it for you. Wherever there is a repetition, we deleted that. Just reference alone we used. Repetition questions. So all that. Now, approximately these 2 chapters put together came 110 questions. Approximately 110 questions. Getting it? Only company audit, audit report and standards. Only these 3. 110 questions were there to practice. And if you read these 110 questions, sir, at this last moment should we read it completely, compulsorily? Your choice. When you're reading these questions, normally what you will feel like, many of them I can say, you feel like you already learned. Only few, I can say maybe out of them, 30% questions only you might feel like completely new. But you focus thoroughly enough. You read it thoroughly once, understand it thoroughly, which is more than enough. Before you read this, what I suggest you is, watch my marathon standards related timestamp. I have a timestamp, right? Standards related one. Watch that marathon timestamp standards related. Now, some students are having one more doubt. Sir, what about, you said no, CA Inter some videos. These standards were there. What about that marathon, sir? That I have not covered in CA final. Even for my CA final students, what I tell them is, I tell them to refer CA Inter marathon on these chapters. On documentation and evidence, sampling, analytical procedure and fraud. For these 4 chapters, I tell my students to refer to CA Inter Audit Marathon, where you will get a comprehensive coverage of all this, so that when a question comes in exam, you feel like, okay, I know it. Okay. So you can see here. So at the end of every question, we have given what is the topic and where is the source it is picked from. So even the topic reference is also given. What are all the standards which is tested? Definitely, if you read these 110 questions, I can challenge more than 20 plus marks will come. More than 20 plus marks will come for sure from these question bank only. See, it's in this, nothing is great. Nothing is great. Getting it? What I did is simply compiled past 9 or 10 attempts related, questions which is relevant for current students of May 23 and November 20. That's it. I just want to give this clarification and in addition to this, in our website itself, you can find various other resources. You can see here. Okay, so we have given our main material module 1, module 2 and question bank, and we have given 501, 505, 510, 560, 580. They're asking you to read from CA Inter. So we have copied it from CA Inter. But it is very crisp only, not so lengthy. But these standards know 200 to 520. Getting it? This is something lengthy. Getting it? And handwritten notes. This is also similar, somewhat, normal handwritten notes. I mainly recommend it for 400 to 550. So these are the resources that we provide to our students. So which I just want to provide it free to everybody else. So that's the reason I made this video. So if at all still you're having any confusion on standards, what are the past questions that I need to solve? So if you're unable to get answer for standards on audit and audit report, then this video will help. Getting it? So to this video, I'm attaching my CA final audit marathon at the end. Okay, CA inter audit marathon video I'm attaching, and that's it. I think which amendments video I'm attaching. So just use these resources. Read this question bank once. That's it. You are done for audit report and standards. Any sort of question that you get in exam, you will definitely and easily get face it. Okay, all the best. And by the way, okay, I'll make a separate video for strategy for CA final audit. Okay, I'll make a separate video how to face CA final audit exam. So, and what are the most important chapters that you need to refer, what chapters you can confidently skip. So I'll make a video separately. Thank you.